From the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, this is the Entree Leadership Podcast, where I take calls from leaders like you about what it takes to win at any stage of business and leadership. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host with over 30 years of experience leading in the trenches right alongside you. I was doing this stuff today. If you got a question you want to ask on the show, fill out the form on EntreLeadership.com/ask or call and leave us a voicemail at 844-944-1070, 844-944-1070. Brian is with us in Grand Rapids. Hey, Brian, how are you?
Hey, Dave, better than I deserve. How are you, man?
Just the same, sir. What's up?
Well, I run a consulting firm here and have about 6 employees. Last year we did about $2.5 million in revenue. And the problem that I'm running into right now, Dave, is that since fourth quarter last year, we've seen a significant dip in revenue due to economic factors that's happening here in Michigan, and suffered a pretty substantial loss in Q1 of this year. And I'm considering reducing my staff headcount. The problem is that I have an amazing team that's been with me for quite some time. They all buy into our mission. They're aligned with our vision. It took me a long time to get to this place, and I'm hesitant to let anybody go because of how hard we work to get to where we're at with them. So I just need your guidance on this one, because I don't know how much longer we can sustain before I really have to start cutting even more.
Yeah. Ouch. So the thing is literally in the red. You lost money.
We lost money in Q1. We're down by about 50% already this year compared to last year.
How much money did you lose in Q1? Actual dollars?
$40,000.
Okay. And you just had the cash to cover that, obviously.
Correct.
Okay. So what's Q2 trending on?
We're still going to be low. Probably in the red as well, not as bad. I'd say probably going to lose another $10,000.
Okay. So what happens when we're facing something like this? It's a type of trauma, and I faced it myself, and we all faced it, like during COVID, as an example, right? How am I going to make payroll for 1,100 people when entire divisions, departments in this company just evaporated like live events? We obviously weren't doing any, right? That kind of thing. So how do we keep the people here? Well, what do we do? We're all facing these decisions. And one of the things we learned during that exercise, which was more than just an exercise, it was an extremely stressful situation. What was Dr. John Deloney talks about this all the time. He says when you're in trauma or when you're in a crisis scenario, the way to keep your thinking clear is to say facts are my friends. Because what happens is we all have a drama queen between our ears, and it wakes up and goes into a full Broadway show. And it makes everything feel worse at 2:00 in the morning than it actually is. Does that make any sense to you? Does that sound familiar?
That's pretty darn accurate. I think I wake up at 2 a.m. every day.
There you go. And so, and it's like, and things are really dramatically better than reality or dramatically worse than reality. And the key word here is dramatically. We're drama queens, all of us. And so when you're in a high stress scenario, a threat is coming at you. Our brains are designed to shut down thinking if a lion is approaching to eat you. You don't need to have a discussion with yourself and do critical thoughts. You need to run. And so the prefrontal cortex is flooded with dopamine and other things, and it shuts down critical thinking skills. And that's normal in a trauma thing. So you have to stop and rise above that as an intentional act and say, facts are my friends. Now, when I say facts are my friends, then what you're asking me about is it time to lay people off? Okay. What are the facts telling us about, okay, we're burning $40K. We're not going to burn as much next quarter. We can't keep burning money. There's an end to that. That's a fact. right? But are we able to have you been able to make some corrections with the market and get revenues heading back in the right direction so that maybe Q3 you don't lose money? Because if I'm breaking even and making no profit on my way back to making the profit I used to make, I'm not laying people off. Would you?
No, I'll take break even all day right now.
Yeah, for a while, on my way back to, but not break even as a 5-year scenario. I'm not doing that one. But break even as a way back to where we were from a $40,000 loss, and the bottom of the valley would be Q1 of 2025, and by Q1 of 2026 we're profitable again and heading back. The lines are heading in the right direction again. If I can see my way then we don't end this. And I don't know your business well enough or your environment well enough, but can you see a way where this thing, hangs on by the skin of your teeth until you finish turning it positive? If you can, then it's not time to lay people off. But if you think this is a death spiral and this thing's going to settle out at 50% of its former revenue, then you're going to have to be at 50% of your former staff. So what we're doing here is forecasting with facts, not with drama. And I don't know that, but I like the trend, and you do too, that I'm losing a little money but less than the quarter before. And if I can think that that's probably true about Q3, that I lose a little less money than Q2, then this is a downturn you can absorb without laying people off because you're headed back in the right direction. Does that make sense?
Makes total sense. I think there's still a lot of uncertainty in Michigan on what it's going to look like.
It's not up to Michigan. It's up to Brian. There's always been uncertainty in Michigan. There's always been uncertainty in Tennessee. When you opened your business, there was uncertainty. And there's some outside variables that are playing havoc with you. But I'm not making my decision on the outside variables. I'm asking, if I'm you, I'm looking in the mirror and saying, Brian, can I, in this current environment, turn this thing? If I come to believe that I cannot turn it, then yes, you have to lay people off. And that should be a result of factual analysis. But when you started the business, Brian, there were people standing on the sidelines telling you it couldn't be done. And it took several years for you to finally believe them. I'm telling you, it maybe can be done, and, but I'm not waiting on Trump to take on your stupid governor, and I'm not waiting on any of that kind of crap to bail you out. You're going to be the answer to you're the secret sauce on your sandwich. And so so you've got to sit down with your top 2 people and say, in order to not lay people off, we have to come to believe that we're trending back up. What has to be true for us to believe that with facts, not with wishful thinking? Or are we going to come to believe that the environment is so tough we can't exist anymore? And if that's the case, then you're just, you're going to have to own it and let people go. So I don't know the answer to the equation, but necessary endings come, according to Henry Cloud in his book, Necessary Endings, when you have lost hope that you see a way forward. I no longer see a way forward. And I'm not there yet in this discussion because I can tell that you're losing less money in Q2 than Q1. You did not continue down. You did something to stabilize. You brought the nose of the plane up before it hit the ground. And so what did you do to stabilize, and can you do some more of that? That's in the current environment that you're in. I don't know any other way to do it. So, that's where I would land on it. But if you come to believe that it's going to continue to go down, it will be irresponsible to the people you're going to keep to not let the people go that need to go. They're the first ones out the door. And, so the way we lined that up at COVID was we said, okay, we have a certain amount of cash. We told our team this, by the way. We have a certain amount of cash. We don't have any debts. If we start actually losing money and burning the cash, the first thing is we're going to burn the cash down to a certain level. The second thing is leadership will stop taking pay. And the third thing is we're going to hold your pay. And then if that's not working, then we're going to let you go. But we're not going into debt, and we're not going to do any of that. So anyway, and we just told them that's exactly. The good news was at Ramsey, we were able to bring the nose of the plane up, even though it was heading down, before it got in the red, before we were actually losing money. So we never even got to the burn the cash part, much less leadership not taking pay. But I was willing to not take pay rather than let people go, just like you, Brian. And our leadership team was too. And that makes it easier to not lose money, right? And so we can keep the nose of the plane heading up into the sky. But if the environment, with the shutdowns and all the bullcrap stuff we all went through, was going to keep us from doing business, then people were going to end up losing their jobs at the end of the story. And but we told everybody that. We said, you're going to have plenty of notice because we're going to tell you everything that's going on. And this month we did not lose money. We made less than we thought we were going to make, but we did not lose money. This month we did not lose money. This month we did not lose money. And every time I say that, you get to keep your job a month longer. And so, and we kept telling everybody that. So everybody knew what we were facing. And I think you start telling your team that. And tell them what your plan is and go, we got to get this revenue back up. And if we don't get it back up, there's no... Santa Claus doesn't live here. We cannot keep paying you guys. And that's a mathematical fact. And that's what you're getting into. So you're a good man. You're a good man for fretting over this. You're a good man for wanting to protect your people. You're wise for all of those things. So, wow. These days, business as usual is anything but. Tariffs make trade policy a moving target, supply chains are squeezed, and your cash flow is tighter than ever. If your business can't adapt in real time, you're in a world of hurt. That's why you need Netsuite by Oracle, trusted by more than 42,000 businesses, including Ramsey Solutions. You need to see what's happening, what's stuck, and what's costing you, and how to fix it. NetSuite is the #1 cloud-based business management suite because it helps your business make the right decisions fast. It brings accounting, financial management, inventory, and HR into one place, so you're not left shuffling a dozen different spreadsheets. That gives you the visibility you need to make quick decisions based on actionable data. And NetSuite AI automates everyday tasks so your team can focus on strategy. It's one system for full control and no guesswork to tame the chaos. And right now, if your business is doing $1 million or more in annual revenue, download NetSuite's free ebook, Navigating Global Trade, 3 Insights for Leaders at netsuite.com/Ramsey. That's netsuite.com/Ramsey. Entree Leadership Master Series is already over 90% sold out. Yeah, even more than that. So if you want to join us this October 19th through 24, you're running late. It's time to act. Just a tiny window here for you. Master Series is a 5-day business conference where my leadership team walks you through the exact tactics we use to grow Ramsey to a $300 million company. You'll leave with a custom plan to grow your business. So to join us in Frisco, Texas this October at the wonderful Omni Resort, go to EntreLeadership.com/Master Series or click the link in the show notes if you're listening on YouTube or podcast. AJ is in Minneapolis. Hi, AJ. How are you?
Good. Hi, Dave.
What's up?
I'm a manager for an engineering company where I oversee about 10 staff. Half of my staff are union, half are non-union. So my question is, how should I approach conversations regarding wage differences between, the union versus non-union members?
They doing the same job?
They are not doing the same job. The union is more of like the field crews, and the non-union is more of the project management type.
So it's not the union that's causing the issue. The issue is they do different jobs. I mean, if I've got someone here that is a salesman and that brings in $20 million in ad revenues, or $5 million in ad revenues, he or she is different than someone who's an entry-level accounting person. It's apples to oranges.
Okay.
They should not even be on the same. I mean, it doesn't matter if they're union or not. It's just they get paid different because they do different jobs.
I guess maybe the historical is that the non-union at one point were at a higher rate than the union, and that is now flipped. Yeah.
Doesn't matter, though. They do different jobs.
Okay.
I mean, there was a time that, I don't know, somebody in this place made more than somebody, and that flipped because of the changes in technology. That could be the same thing here. So, I mean, like, give me an example of an office staff who used to make more than union that doesn't now.
Like my project managers, they are now less than my field engineers.
And they're managing the field engineers?
They kind of are like distributing workload to them, whereas the project managers receive the projects in, and then they will assign a field engineer to their project.
And the field engineers are union?
They are, yep.
Really? What industry is this?
Yeah. It's the electric industry.
Okay. Oh, okay. Electrical engineer. Okay.
Yes.
Huh. And well,
yes.
Listen,
it's an interesting.
Yeah, it's just okay. If you were out, I'm looking at it, I can look at either one of these people and say, if you didn't have a job right now, and you came over here to apply for a job, you would apply for a project manager, or you would apply for a union field engineer. And a project manager pays this, and if a union field engineer pays that. And you just, are you qualified for the one that pays more? If you are, you probably would do that one unless you just don't like that type of work. And so, but basically what you're telling me is the marketplace is flipped. So your competitor is facing exactly the same thing. So your project manager can't jump to a competitor and make double. AJ?
No.
Yeah.
No.
So
the vice versa is that the field engineer can't go anywhere near what they're getting paid.
If they went to a non-union shop.
Correct.
Yeah. So they're stuck, but that's the union deal. That has nothing to do with that. Okay. Is there so there are electrical engineers in your area that are non-union?
Correct. Yep.
So why are you union and paying more?
I guess that I don't know the history on how it started, but that's, I guess, where we're at now.
I don't know the legalities of that. I'm not trying to bust a union, but I'm just thinking from a business perspective, why am I paying more? If I can wave a wand and not be union and pay less, and that's what my competitor's doing, I'm probably wanting to do that for other reasons other than your call, just because I don't want to overpay. I don't have from a profit motive perspective, I don't have any loyalty to the word union. I'm not mad about it, and I'm not trying to bust something here, but, anyway, that's a side issue, I guess. So your question is, how do I talk to my team about the pay differences? Look, that position pays this position pays that. The positions just pay different. It's not a personal thing, and I didn't do it, and the company didn't do it. It's what the marketplace pays. Union electrical engineers make this, and we have union electrical engineers. Project managers make this, and this is what you make. And I don't think they have a gripe. I don't know why they would go, oh, that's not fair, because it's what you make. You can't go somewhere else and make different.
Right.
If you were underpaying your project managers, that'd be a discussion to have. But the reason you're underpaying him is not what the union field engineers are working. The reason you'd be underpaying him is what the competitors pay in that position.
Right. And I think generally we're over market in both positions.
Yeah. So you got no gripe. You chose project manager. This is what you chose. I mean, if you choose to be pick a job in the marketplace that makes more than another job, you chose that direction. You could have gone the other direction, hypothetically. You chose to be, but it's like the old joke of the lawyer calls a plumber, and the plumber comes in and 30 seconds he fixes the thing, and the guy he says, that'd be $250. And he goes, $250? You were here for 30 seconds. I'm a lawyer. I don't make that. And the plumber says, I didn't make that either when I was a lawyer. So, I mean, that's the kind of thing you're looking at. It's like, so, what in the world? So, you make what you make for that role. And that's what the marketplace is bearing. And so I don't know why anybody, I don't have to explain that to somebody. And if I do, there's other issues with that person of maturity and other things going on. So, that's all I can help. I don't feel like I've been much help there, but oh well, it's my best shot. Thanks for hanging out with us, America. We're glad you're here. If you want to help us out, we could use some help in a lot of ways, but you could help us this way. Please click the follow button, the subscribe button, leave a nice 5-star review. Share this show. Tell people about it. Ask them to join us right here on this podcast, and you can tell them what's going on. And gosh, if you want to be a caller here, just dial the number at 844-944-1070, 844-944-1070. Jake is with us in Springfield. Hey, Jake, what's up in your world?
Hey, Dave. I work with a remodel construction company. We did about $2 million last year in gross revenue, and we've got 3 full-time employees, which I am one of. And my boss last year went to Nashville to one of your leadership conferences, your EntreLeadership conferences, came back, and he was just really excited about it and shared a lot of it with me. Cool. My question is how can I support him through this, having not been to the conference, having a lot of personal investment in this company? How can I support him as he's trying to grow as a leader?
Great question. Well, one of the things he probably came up with when he was with us was, I've got maybe, I'll just make up a number. He may have said, I got 10 things I want to work on based on what I learned.
Right.
And the first thing I'm going to work on is this, the second thing is this, the third, force ranked them. The third thing I'm going to work on, so I'm not going to work on all 10 at once. And, if he did do that, then you could simply ask and say, all right, what are you working on and how can I help? And I want to help you get there. And explain to me, teach me the concept that you learned, and so I can come alongside you and not be wondering what the flip you're doing. I'll be instead helping to push the car up out of the ditch. Let's get it going. And so, do you have any examples of what you think he's working on from what he learned?
We've gone through a lot of it since, I don't remember if it was October, November, September last year, but we sat down and we had an offsite. We had our first offsite meeting together.
Cool.
Talking about strategy for this year, which was great. I feel like we set a lot of good goals, did that kind of thing. And now we're in the nitty gritty. We're super busy, and which is great. That's a good thing. But I feel like the conversation has fallen off, and we've moved into more of the day-to-day, week-to-week stuff. So maybe it's just time to revisit some of those things we talked about at the end of the year last year.
I would ask if you could have a 30-minute biweekly meeting for him to tell you what your part, what you need to be working on to help hit the strategy and the goals that came out of the strategy.
Right. And we've started doing a weekly scheduling meeting, which has been great, and that keeps us on track for lots of different things. But
just we laid out this grand scheme, and the grand scheme has 47 moving parts. What do I need to push on the 47 things to help you get the grand scheme? And in other words, I don't want to be working on the wrong thing. I want to be working on what you want me working on.
Okay.
And just get clarity in your 5 minutes, 10 minutes in your weekly scheduling meeting will do that. and just go,
Right.
okay, remember the strategy, and the strategy gave us these goals, and the goals, when you're looking at that, that's a desired future, and then you say, what must be true that's not true now in order for us to hit that goal, and so which of those things that aren't true that we're trying to make true do you want me to help with?
Okay.
And that's a
another
very good
question I
question, and by the way, you're a prize. I'm glad he's got you.
Well, he's good to me and my family, so he deserves it too. Have you ever trained a leader and they've come to you 2 years, 5 years, 10 years later and said, "Man, once I found someone that was willing to do this, things really started happening"?
It usually had to do with if you're finding someone, it usually had to do with a specific discipline or skill set.
Okay.
And, you reach a point in size where you need a really good accounting person, and that frees you up to go do business because you're not having to screw with the accounting. You reach a point in size where someone's handling all the day-to-day scheduling, and since you don't have to mess with that, you can work on strategy and you can work on moving new, bigger clients in and that kind of thing. And so what you're doing is you're offloading areas of the business, disciplines within the business to someone, and in each time you do that, it frees the leader, the owner, up to go to the next level on the things you're working on. And you take a $2 million business, make it a $4 or $5 or $10 million business.
Right.
And so, but there's not a certain singular position. It would be more unique to each company. In my case, it was, when I brought in people that could, the first guy I hired, I was doing financial counseling, and he was a financial counselor. So I wasn't having to do one-on-one coaching across a round table in a conference room with couples that were hurting. Instead, I'm over here working on the business, and he was over there doing the counseling. And so, somebody did the work that I was doing, so I was freed up. But that was the very first hire that I ever did. His name was Russ Carroll, and he stayed here so long he retired from here. He's a wonderful friend to this day. So, but it's someone does some of the work that you were having to do that allows you to do bigger thinking work and bigger idea work. And so, I reached a point several years ago where I felt like God told me I was only to work on things that were big or broken. Things that were big or broken or brand new. I can help with some of those things. But things that were operating that weren't broken and that weren't huge, I need to let the guys running them run them. And I need to work on big, broken, new. And I've spent most of my life working on the big things around here, the broken things and the new things around here to make sure they all get up and move. And so that's the case here, and that may not be the case there, Jake, but you're asking really, really world-class questions. Yeah. Dude's got him a world-class right-hand man there. I recommend a book to you. It's called Rocket Fuel. You ought to look at that one, Jake. It talks about how key a number two man can be or number two woman behind a number one. Pick up the book Rocket Fuel and you and your leader read it. Because at the stage you guys are at, it might be helpful for you. Thanks for hanging out with us, America. We're glad you're here. The phone number is 844-944-1070. This is the Entree Leadership Podcast. I am your host, Dave Ramsey. Will is in Miami, Florida. How are you?
I'm doing well, Dave. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure. What's up?
So I'm the owner-operator of a fishing products brand that grosses $1.3 million with 7 employees. I'm wondering if I should sell or move my business.
You're an owner of a what?
A fishing products brand.
Fishing products, like lures or rods and reels or fishing line or that kind of thing. I'm sorry?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Anything that catches fish.
I got you. Okay, cool. And you're in Miami. Okay. Why are we considering these two options? What's wrong with just doing what you're doing?
So to give you some context, I made the decision to move my family about 2.5 years ago during COVID. I moved us about 2.5 hours away from the business. Essentially, I've been operating the business remotely. And I've come to the realization over the last few years that I really can't take the business from the Pathfinder stage that we're in into the Trailblazer stage. So it's kind of a unique situation. I don't know too many people have done exactly what I've done. So I'm just trying to figure out, do I sell it or do I try to move the business?
Okay. I ran into some guys that do millions of dollars of freshwater lures and a year, and they are in an interior state, but they're freshwater guys primarily. I think they probably have some saltwater product. I'm guessing if you started in Miami, your stuff might be primarily saltwater.
That's correct. Yeah, we do a little bit of freshwater as well, but primarily focused on saltwater.
What I'm noodling is, because these guys were in a state that had nothing to do with the ocean, and really, they're selling stuff to, every bait shop in America is buying their stuff, right, on every lake around anywhere. Is it necessary that this business is on the coast?
No, not necessarily. It definitely does not have to be on the coast. I think that there's some benefits of it being on the coast. Just
like testing stuff or whatever?
Yeah, absolutely. For testing products and, to get the right type of culture. It's kind of a unique industry. It's a little bit of a smaller industry that we're in. So you really want to get people in, at least that I've found, that, have a general interest in saltwater fishing. So the further interior you go, the harder it would be.
Yeah, and you if you did move it, you would move it close to home.
That's correct.
And
yes.
Is that going to be too far interior with the discussion we're having?
Nope, no. It's still we're still near the coast. It's definitely a smaller area. There's not quite as much industry going on where we're at.
Yeah, but you're not just selling the stuff local, are you?
No. So we're I'd say more regional, southeast United States, from Texas up to Virginia.
Yeah, if you're doing $1.3 million, you said, right?
Correct. Yep.
Yeah. So, you're probably doing a large portion of it online or distribution through some kind of retailers, right?
Correct. Yeah, we have a good mix between selling wholesale to retail accounts and also selling online. It's about 60-40.
I'm not in the focus group. I don't hate fishermen or fishing. I just don't do much of it, so I can't. I'm trying to think what I can relate it to that I would be trying to put the customer's shoes on. I don't know why this is not 90% online.
I think mainly because the fishing industry still is pretty heavily brick and mortar. And early on in the business, we made a decision to work with mom and pop retail shops, and we really try to honor them and those relationships as best as possible. So while there is a huge opportunity online, we just have those good lasting relationships with shops, and so we've tried to balance.
If you move it to where you are, though, you've still got to run those mom and pop distribution strategy from where you are, or you've got to run it from Miami. So there's no downside to moving it.
Correct.
In terms of it doesn't destroy the business model, because it's either going to be online or mom and pop distribution, and you're fine with that. And you just got to get more mom and pops to go from $1.3 million to $2.6 million, right? To double.
Yeah, that's correct.
And you can do that from hometown. So why would you not just move it? Why are you thinking of selling it instead?
So I have some really good employees in place. When I made the decision to leave the business, that was my decision. I didn't really have the idea in mind of bringing the business with. The team was operating well.
How many?
Total, we have 7 employees, 4 full-time, 3 part-time.
So you have 4 employees.
Correct.
You're not going to not move a business for a part-timer.
Right.
So we're talking about 4 people.
Yep.
Are you sick of this business?
I'm sick of working remotely right now, and that's coming to a head over the last year.
I think you need to move it.
Okay.
And if you need to be kind financially to the 4 people that, if any of them don't want to come, if any of them don't want to move, you can be kind to them financially. And but it's not. Let me tell you, they'll quit the minute that they see a better job anyway. even though, and not because but just because it's human nature. I mean, if somebody comes along and offers them double, they're going to go work for somebody else. And so,
That's pretty.
that's the way life is, and that's okay. They should actually. That's not. You would want that for them if they could make double. And
Certainly.
so,
yeah,
I had a guy leave a few weeks ago that he was making almost double, and I'm like, let me help you pack. Oh my gosh! And so, move it, and just because the only thing keeping you from moving it is not that you. The only reason you would sell it is so those 4 people kept their job. That's a dumb reason. No, don't do that.
Yeah. With that said, what do you think is the best process? I am removed from the business, so I'm a little bit hesitant to just give them a lot of time, just because I'm not close to the operation. I do go up once a month or so, but
you're going to get your hands dirty again and get ready for the move.
Absolutely right.
So get your butt in the car and get back down there.
Yep.
And get up to your elbows in it again, so that if they all walk out on you, you're not dead in the water. Right now, you don't even know what the flip's going on, and so, and what I would tell them is, I'm here, and then after a week of you being there, you ought to be reacclimated to almost everything, and then in the second week, say the reason I'm doing this and getting reacclimated is we're talking about moving it, and here's our timeline for moving it, and I'll pay your moving expenses if you want to come. Or I'll give you some severance if you don't want to come, and help me finish this thing up. And in 90 days, we're going to move it, or whatever the timeline is, and go ahead and tell them the timeline once you've gotten back in the saddle. But you're vulnerable until you're back in the saddle, is what you're saying.
Yeah, that's definitely what it feels like for sure.
Yeah. Well, let's get back in the saddle then, and because you got to do that anyway when you move it. You're going to be back to work. You're working 2 days a week. Crap's over. You're getting ready to run a business again. Yeah, you're getting ready to run a business again because it's going to be in your backyard and you're going to work every morning.
Yep.
And nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. That's not a sin. And if you look up and you say, I don't want to do any of that, I'd rather just have the money and sell it, then sell it. I don't care. You don't have to. But I didn't hear any reason to sell this business. And it's not healthy the way it is, because you're not rocking your own baby enough. Other people are rocking your baby. And so it's not going to grow. It's not going to be everything it should be. It's, with you working remote and 4 good guys, even though they're good guys, they're not ever going to take it to where you would take it to. And so you either need to sell it or move it. I agree with that. Because it's not being maximized. It's not going to hit the level of excellence that you want to hit. I really like where you are, though. It's a cool discussion. And the good news is you were good enough and are good enough at this business that it gives you choices of what you want to do. But if you decide, I just don't want to be in this business anymore and I want to sell it for that reason, then that's an okay reason. But to protect 4 employees that might leave anyway, no, I'm not going to do that. That's not. I'll protect them other ways. I'll take good care of them if they move or if they don't move. That'll be the plan. All right, folks. Hey, remember, better a weary warrior than a quivering critic. This world needs more high-quality leaders, so take courage and lead. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host. Thanks for listening to the Entree Leadership Podcast.